Hey guys, welcome to another episode. This is Joseph speaking. I hope you guys are doing great today. We're going to continue on with this next video, winning the tournament online. So while we're using the Groudon deck, in our next matchup, we're going to be fighting the Zamazenta theme deck. So this one's a little tough because the Zamazenta deck has the bird in it, and any flying Pokemon usually have a they have a resistance against fighting Pokemon. So of course the damage output that we're gonna have against the flying type Pokemon are gonna be lower. So it's gonna be a lot harder for us to fight, but it is doable. So let's see how we do in this one. So in this starting hand that we have Gibble as our only basic. So we're gonna put that, of course, in the active. And it's nice that we already have the Gabite to evolve it. So it will increase with 2 energy the damage output from 10 to 40. So we're gonna use that to our advantage. Do some chip damage on some of these some of our opponents' Pokemon. Alright, so it's good that we have Garchomp to finish off our evolution from Gibble. So that will definitely help us out throughout this game. So the technique against Zamazenta that I found to be very useful is to use speed to KO as many of their our opponent's Pokemon as we can, and flying type Pokemon because they're the hardest to KO. We're gonna go ahead and evolve Gibble into Gabite. Use How. Good that we have another basic Pokemon there. And we're just gonna hit for 40 because a lot of our Pokemon, Garchomp has this ability where if our opponent has less prize card left in their hand, we basically Garchomp basically does 80 more damage. So we're gonna see how that goes if we need to use that to our advantage. But you know, a lot of the new decks, especially the Zamazenta, they have the potion and other things there that a lot of the meta decks use nowadays. So we're just gonna go ahead and evolve Garchomp. What's nice about Garchomp also to keep in mind is it has free retreat. So if you are in a pickle or in trouble because you're about to be KO'd, you can always retreat and switch to another Pokemon. So one of our key fighters, Throw, we'll put them in the bench, and Mew prevents bench damage. But in this case, we don't have to worry about Zamazenta deck because I don't think they have any Pokemon that hits in your deck. But it's good to put Mew in your bench so that it's ready with 1 energy. It can basically snipe any Pokemon, especially with remaining HP. Mew can definitely do some chip damage or even finish off some Pokemon. So in my strategy here with Zamazenta is I'm gonna do some chip damage using Mew without any resistance to it, so that it'll be easier for us to knock out that bird Pokemon there. That's the only one that gives me trouble with this deck, but it is possible as long as you kind of think ahead, plan ahead. Like what I'm doing here is do some chip damage because that armor, that Corviknight, is basically it will discard 2 energy after attacking, and it will basically negate 100 damage in the next turn. So it's so hard to kill, but it is doable. So what we're gonna do is continue to do chip damage. Because usually with Garchomp, when I do attack the Corviknight, even when they are ahead in their prize card, and I do 80 extra damage, I only get up to 170, or I only get up to 70 damage, because you add basically the 30 resistance to fighting, 30 resistance, so basically they're doing minus 30 damage from our Garchomp. So it's very powerful, very tanky Pokemon. That's why Zamazenta deck is, I think, in my opinion, more powerful than the Zacian theme deck. So we're gonna go ahead and KO the Groudon there after doing 1 chip damage from you. So with Garchomp again, with a free retreat, we're able to we can always switch out, and with that damage it increases Thrall's damage output to 120. Yeah, they're gonna use Metal Saucer, so they are charging up the Corviknight. So they do see the advantage that they do have using the Corviknight against our fighting Pokemon, and they're gonna be able to KO our Thrall with 130 damage. And they do discard 2 energy, so that will increase their HP, or their defense, basically negating 130 damage from our Pokemon. So checking just real quick with the numbers, since we did some chip damage in the very beginning using Mew, with plus 80 damage, plus 120. Or at least be able to $130. Okay, 120. So 200 damage minus 130, 70. So we won't be able to KO this one, because only 50 damage, we'll only be able to do 70 damage. So we are gonna be short on our damage output. So we won't be able to KO using Garchomp's attack, even with the 80 damage. And even if we discard a card, it's only gonna do 70 damage. So we're just gonna retreat, sacrifice our Temple. Let's see what he's gonna do. He will have to charge up Corviknight again if he wants to attack or to KO our Temple, or if he doesn't want to, if he attacks, okay, so he's not gonna be able to attack, and that will lower his defense, giving us a way to KO that Corviknight, even with that 30 resistance, because we are still our opponent is still ahead in price card, and we will still have an increased attack damage. So we're gonna go ahead and put another energy in Gabite and use Cynthia to get more options in our hand. Gonna go ahead and evolve to Seismitoad so that we can choose what we get from our hand and get our other Garchomp ready, so that we can start fighting the other Corviknight. So we should be able to KO this one. So 170. Just want to make sure that we KO that one. Okay, so with their Corviknight, they would, if they put another energy, they would be able to KO our Garchomp. So that's why I didn't hold back, discarding an energy to get that KO. So we do have some other options. We still have another Thraw in our deck, so we should be able to use that. Okay, so they're gonna go ahead and KO our first card. And they do discard 2 energy because they want a higher defense on their next turn. While that is useful to an extent, we want that because that means they're not going to be able to charge their 130 damage output and also get another 100 defense. So we're going to use that to our advantage, and we're going to go ahead and use Groudon. Sometimes 10 extra damage do make a difference, so I do like to get Groudon involved with doing damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and discard an energy. What basically I'm trying to do is get as much damage as I can towards this Corviknight. Or maybe not. So just do 30 for the meantime, because they are still ahead in price card, and we should be able to KO Corviknight in our next turn, because I didn't want to discard an energy and have to put another energy on Garchomp when I don't need to, when I can just allocate the other energy to my other Pokemon to get them ready for the next few turns. So they did decide to retreat with the Corviknight, which I think, in my opinion, was a bad idea, but you know what, they might have something else in mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and put an energy on Groudon and use Lady to get more energy on our hand, get it ready. So if Groudon needs to get up to the front and put more energy on our Pokemon, we'll be able to do that. Okay, so with our increased damage, we can KO our opponent's active Pokemon and take that price for that. Okay, so with our price cards even, Garchomp's increased attack is no longer effective. So we will survive the 90 damage attack from this Bisharp. And we're gonna go ahead and use Thraw. With 120 HP, we should be able to KO it. No problem. So the Zamazenta deck usually gives me a hard time, but it's not too difficult once you take care of the Corviknights. Everything else, all the other Pokemon is basically it's easy to deal with them. It's just the Corviknights that give me a hard time. When you're using the Groudon deck, that's basically the priority that you have, is to take care of the Corviknights. If you can KO those flying Pokemon in the very beginning, that's even better. It's gonna be sweet sailing from then on. So it requires a lot of strategy, and you really have to be on point. You cannot make one mistake, because one move that you miss or you make a mistake on, that will cost you the game, because that will allow them to get more energy on their Pokemon. So in this case, you can see that if we made a mistake and allowed them to get another turn, they would essentially have 3 energy on the Corviknight again, and we'll have a hard time KOing it. In most times when I do make a mistake, it takes me three turns to KO Corviknight because of their resistance. It's just very annoying, but in this case, everything has gone on our favor, or at least we didn't make any mistakes. So we're gonna use Groudon's 130 damage, minus 30, so 100 damage. So we should be able to KO our opponent in our next turn, and that will allow us to take our last prize card and win this game. So remember, Corviknight already had 30 damage. Using Groudon, it only took 100 damage. So we'll need to do 40 more damage, but with the 40 resistance, 30 resistance, it's difficult if we're not careful. So just putting more basic Pokemon in the deck. They do still have 2 prize cards to get, but even if they do manage to put an energy on Corviknight, they'll only be able to do 50 damage. So we're not too worried about that. So we're just gonna let another turn pass, because there's no way we can KO this Corviknight. So we're just waiting. There's nothing else that they could do that will do huge amount of damage to any of our Pokemon. So we're okay. We are basically relaxed at this point. We know that we got this game. Even if they do put an energy, their defense, 100 defense, will no longer be effective, and so we'll be able to do tremendous damage in our next turn. So they're probably thinking, what did they need to do? Really, there's really nothing else to do, but yeah. So we got this. So basically, that's my strategy against the Zamazenta. I just basically focus on the defensive flying Pokemon, the Corviknight. But Zamazenta can be a nuisance sometimes when they do play it, because even with 120 HP, they can basically get another move by using Zamazenta's attack that increase their defense by 30. So just watch out for that. Very defensive deck, but we got that game, and I hope you were able to learn something from this matchup. So that's it. Our Groudon deck against the Zamazenta theme deck, and we really were able to get through that matchup. It was slightly difficult, but we were able to pull through. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Tune in for our last battle of this particular tournament and see if we will take home the prize. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. Thank you so much. Have a great day.